We gathered data from Hot Toys collectors via a poll on my channel, and the data clearly showed that the majority of Hot Toys collectors spend between $1,000 and $2,000 per year on their hobby of Hot Toys collecting. So most Hot Toys figures cost about $300 give or take when you factor in shipping and tax into the overall price. That equates to about 6.5 figures per year if you have a $2,000 a year budget. We're gonna round that up to 7 figures per year because it's a nice clean number. But over 3 years, that's 21 figures. So which 21 should you own? Well, today we're gonna look at 21 pretty good ones. That is a lot of math to justify the title of this video. But today I think we're gonna have a good time counting down the top 21 Hot Toys that are must-haves, that are need to own. And of course, you don't need to own them if you don't love the character and you don't love the franchise. If that's the case, then that figure does not belong in your collection. And you could just go about living an otherwise happy, fruitful, productive life without that Hot Toys figure. That said, let's start our countdown with number 21. At number 21, we have the Hot Toys Advanced Suit Spider-Man 2.0 from Spider-Man 2, the PlayStation 5 video game. Now, if you're a gamer, this figure is pretty essential if you like the Spider-Man character. This is the iconic suit for Peter Parker in really the first 2 games. It's just an upgraded version from the first game. And I think the Advanced Suit 2.0 fixes a lot of the problems from the first one. The material is better. Overall, the blue and the white pops a bit better. The suit texture is much more appealing on the shelf. This is a very good figure. And of course, you have the spider pincers, which are pretty awesome. And of course, a bunch of other Spider-Man accessories. I love how this figure looks. It poses like an absolute dream. It has an amazing presence on a shelf. And of course, you get some symbiote effects, which are pretty cool because of course, Peter Parker does don the symbiote suit in, of course, this Spider-Man 2 video game. I did, as I mentioned, greatly enjoy the first Spider-Man over the second one. Second one was a little mid, first one was pretty exceptional, but still nonetheless, this suit is the best one that really Hot Toys, probably the best Spider-Man that they've done that doesn't include a head sculpt. At number 20, I'm gonna shock some people who don't watch this channel that frequent. For those who do, I doubt you're gonna be surprised at all. But we have the Force Awakens Kylo Ren figure. Hear me out on this one. I know a lot of people hate the sequel trilogy and they hate Kylo Ren because they found him whiny or to be difficult, or they didn't like where the character went or where the trilogy ended up going. This figure is iconic. This is the highest grossing Star Wars film of all time from a box office standpoint. And of course, most people still love The Force Awakens. I mean, they loved it at the time, at least. Over time, when Last Jedi came out, it kind of diminished that excitement. But this figure really represents a Skywalker saga character, and of course, a highly powerful one. And of course, a cross guard wielding, first time ever, character that we saw on screen, at least. I know in comics and other things, characters have done similar things. But on the big screen, this is the first time this has been seen. This figure is slightly dated, and I do hope they do a remake at some point. But for now, it is absolutely awesome. Again, one of the strongest Force users in the big screen galaxy of Star Wars. And again, stopping a blaster bolt was not something we had really seen on screen from my recollection until Kylo Ren pulled it off with this amazing feat. This figure is awesome, and you can find it for ridiculously cheap. All right, so hear me out on number 19. We have Lord Starkiller from The Force Unleashed. Now this, alongside Darth Revan, are figures that we never expected Hot Toys to produce. They stem from the old video games from the Star Wars franchise that collectors have long clamored for as figures they desired in their collection, but we never thought Hot Toys would truly consider. Well, now they have, and they created one hell of a figure. This is one of the best figures Hot Toys has produced in years, and certainly one of the best figures of 2024. It is primarily made of nylon, so not pleather. There are some pleather components, but the nylon elements really do help the longevity of this figure, and it doesn't need any help in the presence department. He's got lightsabers clipped to every aspect of his belt. He's got some USB-powered lightsabers, a really badass helmet and overall outfit. I think this is awesome. People do want the Galen Merrick head sculpt, and it's unfortunate that this is the outfit that they chose for some people. To me, playing Force Unleashed, I had not played the second one yet, this is the outfit I think that is coolest for the character. So I'm glad that they made this one because to me, this is the one that really looks the most badass on the shelf. And the amount of presence that this guy has is, it's off the charts. I can tell you, if you're a huge fan of Star Wars or love the character, you have to have this one in your collection. I'm assuming you probably already do. If you don't know anything about the character, I would recommend giving the game a play on Xbox or Steam or anything that you can play it on. I played KOTOR on Steam, and I played this one actually on Xbox, the original. And pretty amazing game. So for number 18, I'm cheating just a little bit. We have the Artisan Moon Knight on screen here, but you could also consider the original Moon Knight, which I have in my collection, and it's absolutely awesome. It's much cleaner than this newer Artisan version, but this Artisan version is pretty damn cool. So either one of the two, Moon Knight the character, the original version, whether you get that from Hot Toys, or this new Artisan version with a head sculpt, it is awesome. I'm showing the Artisan version because if you can get your hands on that one, it's going to be worth it. Additional weathering, it has a beautiful Oscar Isaac head sculpt, and a really, honestly, much simpler base, which I think is going to be better for collectors compared to that giant one with the moon crescent. While cool, an absolute space hog. The likeness to Oscar Isaac here is off the charts good. This is just... It's one of the best head sculpts I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks a 10 out of 10 like Oscar Isaac. The rooting of the hair looks good. It looks fantastic. Again, Hot Toys Artisan line, if you're unfamiliar, it's their exclusive Artisan premium brand line that really does showcase the best of what Hot Toys is capable of in a mass production format, and it looks great. You have LED light up eyes with batteries. Not gonna last super long, but they are pretty cool when they are lit. The cape is one of the best capes, if not the best cape Hot Toys has ever produced. It's just an awesome figure all around. And I have the original version, again, much cleaner, but this one looks awesome. So whether you can get your hands on the original or the Artisan, either one, you're gonna be absolutely thrilled because Moon Knight has one of the best costumes in the entire MCU. And I really enjoyed the show. So for me, Moon Knight is a huge presence commanding figure. I think you got to get this guy. And somehow at number 17, I think we have a figure that is very popular, yet at the same time slightly underrated. Chrome Mando is the best Mando figure out there, make no mistake about it. But this is a figure that was greatly overproduced. It's been sitting on Sideshow for quite a long time, and I think it's finally waitlisted now, but it's really, truly one of the best Star Wars figures that they've done. The chrome really pops on this figure. It's shiny. It has a little bit more weathering than collectors enjoyed or, appreciated for the most part. I actually kind of like it, although it's not entirely show accurate. I think it gives Mando a little bit more of a grimy sort of bounty hunter type vibe, which is really what he is in the show. So I like that additional weathering, although Beskar is a little bit cleaner in the actual show. Still, I love how this looks. The original Mando was pretty solid, but this one is... it just blows it out of the water. I had that original Mando and it was a good figure for its time, but this one came out, and despite my resistance to it, it's a much better overall figure. It pops on the shelf, it's shiny. Still a little bit of a problem posing it just because of the fat suit underneath. However, great figure. You have the accessories here with the Boba Fett helmet and overall packaging there that you can see there that he carries through the desert if you want to use that. And of course the jetpack, it's awesome if you want to have the deluxe version. You have Grogu. Pedro Pascal head sculpt is okay, not perfect, it's solid, but it certainly is the best Din Djarin Mandalorian figure out there right now. Maybe one day we get a diecast version. It's unlikely as of now, but it could happen maybe one day in the future. Of course, you got the Darksaber and the Beskar Spear. This guy is packed to the gills with weaponry and it looks awesome. This Chrome Mando is, as long as you enjoy the show, it's not one you want to sleep on. At number 16, we have the diecast Iron Man Mark 7. Now, this has been made in a suit-up figure, of course, some spin-off with some like gold versions and D100, I believe. This is a very iconic suit. This is the suit that Iron Man wears at the end of Avengers 1 when he fights Loki and falls off the tower, as you can see here, and really goes into that whole Battle of New York. That is one of the most iconic scenes of Marvel. Avengers 1 is truly, in my opinion, what made Marvel what it is today. It really was the film that brought everything together and showed people this type of universe could be done successfully in the right hands. And it certainly is pretty remarkable of a film even today. So I love this figure. Again, it's my favorite Iron Man suit. I have the most nostalgic connection to it. I love the overall bulkiness and just hardcore design of it. It's a very bulky, tactical war-like suit, and I like that. And of course, you have battle damage components as well that you can apply to the figure, which are just awesome. I wish it had USB-powered light up, lighting the suit itself. That technology has not quite been utilized by Hot Toys yet. Maybe in a Mark 7 3.0 at some point, they might end up doing that. But for now, it's still an amazing figure, whether it's lit up in your display or not. The presence that it has, the overall weight of it, the weightiness of it, considering it's die-cast metal, it's absolutely awesome. And at number 15, we have the Hot Toys Battle Damage Mark 85. Now, I know what I just said seconds earlier about the Mark 7. However, for most people, I'm trying to be objective and fair here. The Mark 85 battle damage is probably Iron Man's most iconic moment in the entire MCU. And Hot Toys really created a beautiful figure here. Of course, it's one that has been overproduced, so you can get it very cheap these days. You can get it for probably half the price of what it retailed for, but it really is a remarkable figure. I think They'll probably artisan this figure or an Iron Man other version at some point, but the battle damage components are very effective. I love, of course, the head sculpt on this one. I think the armor really has a lot of presence to it. It's one of those figures that I unboxed and said, wow, this is really freaking good. I think it's still holding up well for, the fact that it released several years ago now. And again, it just has a lot of presence with the battle damage components. You can do a regular Iron Man, or you can do a head sculpt Iron Man with the snapping pose, which is what most people will likely do for this figure. But a lot of different accessories and opportunities here to pose him in different ways. Very cool suit. I love the Mark 85. It doesn't get to do all that much besides doing the actual eventual snap in Endgame, but still, very cool head sculpt. Love the armor design, battle damage, super iconic moment, maybe the most iconic moment in the MCU for most fans. And it's Iron Man. It's where it all started and it's where it all ended. So I think it's got to be worth it. Long have we waited for a Hot Toys C-3PO, and it's finally here. Hot Toys has delivered an amazing figure, one of the best figures of 2024, a Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary C-3PO figure that I am super thrilled to have in my personal collection. It's amazing, guys. If you don't have a C-3PO, this is certainly the one to get. You do have the Sideshow option if you want to go that route, or the Attack of the Clones option, which is far from iconic, albeit still a good figure. But this one has that iconic gold color scheme, die cast, and it just is awesome. The light up eyes are absolutely awesome, but again, battery powered, a little bit of a pain in the ass, a little bit of a hassle to work with. Maybe one day we'll have a USB for the C-3PO. However, it is just a super iconic and important character. C-3PO is in pretty much every Star Wars film, at least as far as the saga is concerned. And he's a really important character, and he's a fun one. He really is a display builder. And really, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's like, you kind of need C-3PO. You kind of need R2. Can't have one without the other. It's like lamb and tuna fish. Those two go together. So, or milk and ice cream. Those two go together the same way. At number 13, we have the Hot Toys Black Panther original suit. And this is really a 2.0, although it was never labeled that. I mean, it was originally from Civil War when they made it. Now they've made it from the Black Panther film when he wore it in the original part of the film, the early stages of the film. And they included the Panther mask, a shield, and of course a head sculpt, which they didn't include the first go around from Chadwick Boseman. Guys, Chadwick is Black Panther, right? They can recast him. I'm all on board for that, actually, if they get the right actor. But we're always going to remember him as our Black Panther. He was iconic. He was legendary. He was the king of Wakanda. And it wasn't the same without him. Shuri really filled in admirably and did a great job. But T'Challa really is the character that we fell in love with and connected with. And without him, it just doesn't quite feel the same. This is his best suit, in my opinion. The Black Panther suit that he had when he evolved and got, the Panther suit to, by Shuri, the upgrade in the original film. I think that one's good. It's not terrible, but I greatly prefer the original suit from Civil War. I just think it's a cooler suit. It's a better design. I think it screams more Black Panther to me. And this is the design I think that most collectors are going to end up wanting in their collection. I can tell you I have this suit. The proportions are a massive improvement from the original. And again, this is Black Panther we're talking about. $1 billion film, and it's Chadwick. He's legendary. I do not like this head sculpt at all. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think it's good head sculpt. But I'm not going to use it because I love the Black Panther look, and I'm probably always going to keep the mask on him. I tend to be a mask on type of collector in terms of my display with poses similar to this. And it's just an awesome, incredible figure with a dynamic, incredible presence and a super iconic representation and character. What more could you ask for besides a good head sculpt? At number 12, we have the Hot Toys Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic. They label him as Star Wars Legends, which he is, but we all know him from KOTOR. They never quite got around to doing that remake, unfortunately. Who knows if they will at this point, doesn't seem likely. But this figure is pretty damn awesome, aside from the hood. The hood is ass. It takes so much work to make it look good. However, if you do some work to it, spray it with some water, try to get it to sit right, you can make it look pretty solid. It's just going to take you more effort than it should. It does have a wire in the front, but not on the back sides. And of course, they decided to put a seam right in the top in the middle of it. Not ideal, but the figure itself, besides that, has a ton of presence to it. This guy, Revan, is one of the most powerful and badass characters in the entire galaxy. And I love how this figure looks. Again, I have a whole cosplay dedicated to Revan in the 501st, and I knew I had to have this figure. I had to dopo it immediately when it went up for pre-order, and I knew that this was one that was going to be coming home and staying in my collection long term. I The amount of presence this guy has, whether you're a fan of the character or not, is just remarkable. And for me, if you don't understand the character and know much about him, you should try to learn more if you like Star Wars. Try to play Knights of the Old Republic, or maybe watch an explain video about Revan and see whether the character vibes with you, whether you connect with him. Because the presence that he has in his costume design and overall figure form, it's off the charts. It's so good. Put him next to Starkiller and the eventual Malgus, and you're going to have a really remarkable display there with some Legends characters. Again, prepare to do some work with the hood, but the detailing in the armor and the overall lightsaber work is fantastic. I will say, be careful with the ankle pegs. You got to be very gentle with those. They use these long ankle pegs. Be careful when posing him. The cape does have a wire to it, but overall the presence Darth Revan has is undeniable, and it's just... This is Revan we're talking about. He's legendary. Literally Star Wars Legends. At number 11, I'm pulling a Moon Knight 2.0 here. I have the Hot Toys DX13 Terminator, the original version, or you have the 2.0 here that I'm showing on screen now. Either way, you have an incredible figure. If you can get your hands on the DX13 for cheap, you can go for it if you want. I would go for the 2.0 if at all possible. It is going to be a superior product. Genuine leather parts, updated paint applications on the sculpt, an updated diorama base, which is even better than the original. This thing is awesome. I can tell you guys, the DX13, it holds up as one of Hot Toys' best figures. It is remarkably lifelike, and the amount of artistry on display with that figure is just fantastic. Again, the paint applications showing the cybernetic skull underneath, and of course the light up eye there. The blood effects, the bullet effects, the battle damage in general, the cybernetic leg, genuine leather parts this time. Again, whether you get the DX13, which is not real leather, or you can get the new 2.0 here, which I would recommend, again, it's just amazing. Terminator 2 is one of the best films ever made, sci-fi, action, or otherwise. It's one of the best films, period. And Arnold is one of the most iconic actors of all time. So this figure is a must-have if you're a Terminator fan. It's just... the Hot Toys cannot miss on this one. This is going to be a figure of the year contender when it releases sometime this year. It's just going to be, it's going to blow people away who have not already owned the DX13. I'm going to surprise some people with number 10 here, because this is a figure that you can get for remarkably cheap on the secondary market. This is the Hot Toys Infinity War Thanos. You can get this guy for probably under $200 at this point. It's pretty crazy. Not only does he have a seamless arm on both sides, he even has a swappable arm showing the gauntlet like this that is non-articulated, so you won't crack the rubber when you want to pose him in that type of pose. Hot Toys has done that very few times since then. I think maybe only once or twice. It's not been a feature that they've done all that frequent, although now the Winter Soldier is doing it, which I absolutely love. That realism is important. Of course, the likeness to Thanos from Infinity War is awesome. And again, you have to remember, this is the Thanos who won. The Thanos in Endgame that people really loved with the armored look, battle damage or not, is not the Thanos who won. This is the Thanos that wiped out half the universe. This is Thanos that achieved his mission, that fulfilled his purpose. And I love how this looks. Infinity War is probably still my favorite movie of all time. Certainly my favorite Marvel movie. It's just the best experience and most nostalgic time for me. But this guy is just awesome. He's such an underrated figure. The presence, the size, the overall design of the figure, the costume design is awesome. Again, this Thanos, you can't sleep on Infinity War. Infinity War is such an underrated figure here, and I will go to my grave saying that this is the best Thanos figure. And in number 9, we have Deadpool from Deadpool and Wolverine. I actually just did a review on this figure. If you're interested, it's on my channel. It's awesome. I had Deadpool 2 and I really enjoyed that figure. I can tell you that the new Deadpool is a dramatic improvement. The vibrancy of the colors are just awesome because the costume design is different in Deadpool 3. And of course you get Dogpool and Babypool and some other cool stuff with this figure. And of course you get the golden guns, which he gets from Nicepool, which are really important. You got Headpool here, so you can do a lot of cool stuff with this Deadpool figure. I will say the swords are plastic, so not quite as cool as the die-cast ones that came from the second version. But from a proportion standpoint, from the overall design of the suit, the golden Desert Pistol Eagles, this figure is just awesome. It poses so well. I think it's going to rebound effectively, although I wouldn't leave it creased forever. And again, the accessories you get, and of course the presents you get from the color scheme with the gold, which I absolutely love. And again, this is the most iconic look for Deadpool at this point, considering Deadpool and Wolverine is the highest grossing of the 3 films and the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Another surprising one here at number 8. I don't want people to forget how exceptional this figure is. I know the Book of Boba Fett was not everyone's favorite show. It was not something that I think felt satisfying for most fans, a satisfying continuation of Boba Fett's story that we all wanted. However, Cad Bane's scene in that show is one of the best Star Wars scenes ever. I will again die on that hill. Again, I did not love the show. A lot of it I actually didn't enjoy, but I will say his performance in that scene is awesome. With Cobb Vanth, with the shootout, the desert shootout, it's awesome. And I can tell you from a figure standpoint, this guy has an insane amount of presence. Cad Bane is super tall. He's super blue. He has a sort of Clint Eastwood Western type of vibe to him, and I love it. The coat is a little bit too clean for my liking, but not the end of the world. Still looks amazing on display. Cad Bane is just incredible. I'm telling you, if you enjoyed that scene or enjoyed this character overall, this is the type of figure that's going to add so much presence to a display. At number 7, we have the Hot Toys new red and blue suit Tom Holland Spider-Man. Now, Tom Holland is goated Spider-Man. I know people love Toby, people love Andrew, but I love myself some Tom Holland. Of course, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but for me, Tom Holland is the one that I vibe with the most. I love the MCU. I think Tom Holland has done a great job, and Hot Toys has done a great job bringing this figure to life. So this is one of the best head sculpts Hot Toys has done so far. The blogger photos honestly don't do it justice, but regardless of whether you're going to use the mask on or mask off, Hot Toys made it look really natural this time. So instead of actually having a long giraffe neck where this texture of the suit and the fabric goes all the way up the neck, you have a singular neck piece that pops on to make it look more natural. So you don't really have a visible neck seam that's going to be, identifiable in any way. And of course, when you put the Tom Holland head sculpt on, it looks natural and sits low and flush like it should instead of riding all the way up his neck, which looks unnatural. This is an amazing head sculpt, an amazing figure with diorama base for the deluxe version. The snow base is just really, really cool. This right now is definitive Spider-Man. I know this suit didn't do much, but again, it represents the culmination of his journey, and it has those classic Spider-Man colors that people really enjoy, including myself. So whether you're going to display it as Spider-Man or Tom Holland Spider-Man, you got a great figure and a great base to do it. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, hard to ignore this one. And at number 6, we have Carnage. I don't want people to forget about Carnage. Carnage is such an incredible figure, and I don't want people to misremember how exceptional he actually is. This is one of the most presence-commanding, coolest Hot Toys that has ever been produced by the company. The gooey sort of symbiote texture on the figure body is awesome. It's a custom body, brand new from Hot Toys, that they made specifically for Carnage, and it's awesome. It does have joints, but you can pose them away very easily. The symbiote effects make it super easy to do that, where you're not even going to notice them. And look at all the weapons he comes with. The tendrils are flexible, and you can pose them, they articulate. And of course, you have a head sculpt with the tongue where you can swap in different tongue lengths magnetically, or you can have the teeth if you want to go that route, which is what I've done in my display. But this guy is massive at about 17 inches tall and just has so many weapons and accessories. I didn't love the film all that much. I thought it was solid. I would have preferred it obviously have been much better than it actually was, but I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the worst thing I'd ever seen. I enjoyed it overall. I gave it like an 8 out of 10, but I think this Carnage figure is a 10 out of 10. This thing is remarkably awesome on a display and on a shelf. And it's just, if you love the character of Carnage and you at least enjoyed his portrayal, or you just want Carnage in your collection, I don't know how you pass on this guy. He had so much presence to your display. It's just a remarkable work of art from Hot Toys with this figure. They absolutely knocked it out of the park here. At number 5, we have Hot Toys Darth Maul. Now this one isn't cheating because Darth Maul is technically released. This is the 2.0 version. I have the original DX16 version, but I am upgrading to this 2.0, and I am super excited about that. I think the paint applications are awesome. The color on his skin is actually much more accurate to the film, although still not perfect. Much closer, and the likeness to Ray Park is off the charts good. I'm getting the version with the speeder. I don't know how I'm going to display it just yet, but I'm going to find a way to make it work in my display. I love this figure. I love Darth Maul as a character. I had a statue from the Sideshow Premium format at one point. So this is just a character I think that is really important to Star Wars history and lore. And Hot Toys 2.0 has done him justice here. This is a character, again, the definitive representation here is the one from Phantom Menace. Clone Wars is decent. And then you also have, of course, the one from Solo, which is a cool little cameo. But if you're looking for a Darth Maul, it's the Phantom Menace one. That's Darth Maul at his peak. Insofar as like what his influence was in Star Wars. I'm sure maybe he was more powerful in Clone Wars, whatever. But still, coolest look, most definitive representation would be this one. I love how this looks. I cannot wait to get this in hand. I've seen the reviews. it looks phenomenal. This is a must-have for Star Wars fans. And at number 4, we have the Hot Toys Artisan Jack Sparrow. Now look, I had the DX-15. I love that figure for its time. I thought it was a good figure, but the Artisan absolutely blows it out of the water. It's not even a competition. I compared them in my review video. The DX-15 is a good figure. It was certainly good and, you know, held up well over time, but this one that Hot Toys has now produced is a much superior figure. Likeness, paint applications, tailoring, everything really but the die-cast accessories and the hat. The hat is absolute ass. It doesn't even really fit on the scarfed artisan version all that effectively, the cloth artisan version rather. But I will say the tailoring and of course the paint applications on most of the accessories are improved, and the head sculpt, most importantly, is awesome. The base is better. You have a pirate wheel. And just overall, this honestly looks a lot more like Johnny Depp in person than it does in the blogger photos. In person, I'm like, wow, this is really good. It's like a 9 out of 10 head sculpt. It's not perfect, but I do think it overall looks very close to Johnny Depp and is a great representation for the character. At number 3, we have Hot Toys goated Darth Vader here. Battle damage Darth Vader. Don't at me on this one. I'm just telling you, this is goated Darth Vader. I did not love the show all that much, but I did enjoy the final episode, and I love the cracked helmet and of course this figure's representation of that moment. It was a really good moment, a really good interaction between Obi-Wan and Anakin to have them, experience a reunion, and of course have Darth Vader with the crack down his helmet in the middle, which is what we've all been waiting for. Everyone's been waiting for a Hot Toys figure of that. And of course, we finally got one. This figure has 2 separate bases, a clean look, and a battle damage look that you can swap in between for the deluxe version. The regular version, I would love to have that in my collection too. I've considered getting a second one just for that reason, because I would love to have a clean Darth Vader in my display as well. Because right now I only have the battle damage version, and I think I'm kind of neglecting a clean one. So I think I do need a clean one at some point to have a second Darth Vader, because this is awesome. But I can tell you, the likeness to Hayden Christensen in the battle damage sculpt is awesome. Movable eyes, absolutely awesome. So good, a movable eye, I guess you could say. This is, the battle damage on the head sculpt is awesome. This is one of the best figures that has ever been produced in 1/6 scale. And I can tell you, it's just, again, is it the most definitive representation, or most iconic rather is the word? No, Darth Vader, this is not the most iconic, but it's the coolest, and it's the most badass, and it's the most unique, and you could display it either way, standard or battle damage. You've never had that type of versatility before, and I love that. This figure is just so well executed. Pleather components, unfortunately, but a really cool base, and of course, a battle damage component. This guy is really hard to beat. At number 2, we have the Hot Toys Artisan Joker from The Dark Knight. Now, this was the first Artisan figure that was announced, and a lot of people were holding their breath seeing how Hot Toys was gonna do rooted hair, and it turned out really good. I did a review on this figure as well, compared it to the InArt Premium 2-pack. The Hot Toys is better. Hot Toys is the better figure. I think overall the likeness is superior. The hair is still very good. You do have to futz with it just a little bit, and you do want to be careful moving the eyes. Tailoring is fantastic. Accessories are good. Base is good. It lights up. And of course, the likeness to Heath Ledger is awesome. Hot Toys knocked this out of the park. You can install the tongue version if you would like. For me, I like the teeth head sculpt here a little bit more, and I don't want to futz the hair all that much because it could displace the styling. But I can tell you, this figure is so well executed. Again, it's such an improvement over the InArt figure, and of course, to me, it's an improvement over any other Hot Toys Joker that's been released thus far. This is, guys, I know it's Heath Ledger Joker. There's been so many of them, but this is the best one on the market for licensed figures as of now. Maybe someone will come in and top that, but as of now, Hot Toys takes the cake here. This likeness, I mean, you can look at that. It's really good. It's a really good figure. And in number 1, we have Hot Toys Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. Now, my love for this figure is definitely not a secret. I found this to be figure of the year for 2024. And of course, I love the character. Bane is done so well by Hot Toys in this iteration, this 2.0. The original version was pretty skinny. It had visible joints. So if you wanted to go for the sleeveless look, not exactly ideal. If you wanted to go for a jacketed look, still a pretty good option because that Bane was still a very good figure for its time. This one, custom face and body with the actual scars. Of course, primarily seamless from everything except for the wrist peg that is visible on the left-hand side, but you can pose that away pretty easily and find a way to really not be concerned all that much about it. Or if you want to put the jacket on him, you can totally do that too. But for me, I love the sleeveless look for this figure. The head sculpt is out of this world good. Movable eyes, tons of detail on the actual mask, and of course the proportions for this figure with the custom face and body, it is awesome. The blogger photos are not doing this figure justice. How good it is in person with the diorama base it's I can tell you, look at that shot right there. I can tell you right now, this is one of the best Hot Toys that has ever been produced, and it's certainly one of the best head sculpts in a mass production that any company has done, and Hot Toys delivered here. Seamless wrist would have been nice if they had somehow found a way to do it, but it's not the end of the world. The seamless custom body, the scars, look at that. Everything on this figure just screams quality and detail. I am so over the moon that I have this in my collection. Guys, if you're a Dark Knight fan, this is an absolute must-have. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Those are the top 21 must-have, must-own Hot Toys that are either in my personal collection as we speak or will be coming to my collection in the near future. If I didn't make that part already clear earlier in the video, I apologize, but I felt it was only fair to describe these as must-have or must-own if I own them or plan on owning them. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to click the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you're notified when content goes live here. And if you take any objection or disagree with any of the figures on my list, let me know in the comments section below. Or if you have any figures that you agree with on the list, which would hopefully be the case, then let me know that as well. Or just let me know 21 Hot Toys in your collection that you feel are must-have, must-own. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. See you later. Bye.